First watch! That's right, it's the series on my channel where I let fate decide the next film I watch. The only rule is I'm not allowed to have ever seen it before. Some of these movies might be bigger, some might be more obscure. Today though, fate has decided that I must buckle down and watch The Beach, a film starring a young Leonardo DiCaprio, fresh off of his reign as Jack in Titanic. I have an interesting kind of touch and go vibe with his career as a whole, so this could honestly go either way. So let's get cracking. The Beach is ultimately the tale of a young man, played by DiCaprio, that just craves adventure. He is a true thrill seeker through and through, and when he hears about a hard-to-find and potentially mythical and mysterious island with what he's told is a perfect beach, he can't help himself. He has to go all out and track this place down, not realizing that in doing so, he might actually be bringing trouble to an otherwise peaceful land. So like I said, I have a weird touch and go vibe with DiCaprio because I like him as an actor, I do. But I actually think that he's better at choosing films to play in than he's actually good at playing those roles. It's not always the case, mind you. You know, he does feel born to play certain things, like most notably I would actually argue that his roles in Titanic, The Revenant, and Inception are very much perfect for him. But that's not always a feeling that I always share with him. I mean, for me, I often feel like his roles could be played by somebody else and possibly better. And the same goes for his role as Richard in The Beach. And I'm not off base here. It turns out that the director actually wanted Ewan McGregor for his role. He did. That was the plan. And then the studio went behind his back and hired DiCaprio anyway. I don't even know how that's remotely possible, but that's apparently what happened. And if DiCaprio didn't play in The Beach, it turns out he was going to be the American Psycho in that movie. It's kind of crazy how Hollywood works, but whatever. In general, I didn't think that his role of Richard in The Beach was all that memorable. He does a good enough job to be sure. He's Leonardo DiCaprio, but a lot of the time, I simply just didn't understand him. He gets pretty darn weird in the movie, honestly, and it's not always clear to me as to why. A part of the film did intrigue me though, and that was the aspect that unlocked kind of sort of some nostalgia for me. A few years back, I spent an entire week deep in the middle of the woods with a bunch of hippies. There was no electricity, no air conditioning, no food in the stoves, ovens, or microwaves, no phones, TV, no nothing but togetherness and joy. And truthfully, it kind of took me a while to separate my city love mentality. But once it separated, I did realize that it is beautiful and freeing to live like that. And when you return to a city, it's actually insanely jarring. So jarring, in fact, that I wouldn't be surprised that would make anybody cower in fear, at least temporarily. And in The Beach, that's one aspect that it touches base on. These people in this community that live on this island aren't necessarily hippies, but I'd argue that they aren't not hippies too. That part of the movie brought me back, making me wish that I could live in a cabin deep in the woods, completely unplugged, away from everybody else, and something that I hope to do someday. However, the movie is weird. There's no real plot, and the things that happen in the movie seem disjointed with everything else. So when terrible things happen and when tensions arise, I'm left feeling like it's out of the blue and devoid of any real meaning or emotion. And they work this up too. They work it up, they hype this island to make sound like heaven, or it's the land where the Garden of Eden can be found, or where the Fountain of Youth or immortality is, or maybe they have cloned some dinosaurs that live on the island or something like this. It's this big thing. But I promise you guys, it really is just a stinking island, a regular run-of-the-mill island with a typical beach. That was kind of disappointing for me, so it was an interesting movie to be sure, another interesting display of acting from DiCaprio, but also it's something I don't think will ultimately ever be memorable. It's completely forgettable at the end of the day, sadly. Let's go ahead and break down my final score for a second, which I rated The Beach a C- letter grade. Final overall score of 59%. 59 out of 100 possible stars. You can see from my unbiased and biased scores down below that it was definitely better on a technical side than a personal experience side. For me as a whole, I had a hard time specifically picking out elements of the film that were bad. And the same does go for good. I can't find anything bad or good. For the most part, it felt split right down the middle, which definitely means as a whole, it is forgettable. But what about you guys though? Have you seen The Beach? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know what your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film is as well. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and the bell to be notified when I come out with my next installment for First Watch. And until then, peace out.